Local education, the national scheme requires us to have a local education partnership, which is a strategic partner, primarily a contractor alongside an ICT player. The Kent model is interesting, I think, because the original decision from our members was we weren't going to have just one let partner. Why? A number of reasons. If we're talking about investment of getting on for £2 billion, that's a lot of eggs to put in one basket. Our past track record of putting all eggs in one basket from our members' perspective was a degree of challenge. And even by splitting it up, and the original intention was to split it up into 3, that would still have produced baskets of about £600 million worth of investment, which quite clearly was larger than a large number of other authority schemes. If you read the slide, though, we've now down to 2. The reason for opting for 2 is we've learnt sets of lessons, and actually the fact that it cost me £8.25 million to get to contract signature, and bearing in mind we know that the other parties involved between us would have paid for at least 1.5 secondary schools completely rebuilt from scratch, and that's all gone on fees, development costs, advisors, etc. So actually we've taken the decision to actually scale ours down to just 1. Sorry, down to just 2. We think the LET model, which is effectively a joint venture between the private sector Partnership for Schools as the national organisation and ourselves, works well in terms of ensuring the sets of responsibilities rest with the right elements of the organisation. And one of the real pluses, I think, from the Building Schools for the Future programme is forced us to develop the notion of an output specification. So actually saying we want what we want in terms of the output, which is about transforming education. It's about what's required to do it, as opposed to us saying we've designed the school, private sector come and deliver. Actually, the output specification has allowed us to say, this is what we want. Now we're looking to work with you in terms of how we can actually deliver that, design the schools, etc., in the best shape. What does our overall programme look like? This is somewhat a busy slide, but it's important for a number of reasons. We've used it with our members to point out the length of the programme. We know our programme scheduled to finish in 2022. We knew 2 years ago what we needed to do in the schools in Tunbridge Wells that were at the end. We also knew what was going to happen by way of transforming teaching and learning, the grouping of schools, etc. We knew how that's pre-economic difficulties, which I'll come back to. Actually, we knew how we were going to fund it. We knew where we were going to get the funding from, both in terms of what was available nationally, what my members were going to make available, and what the schools were going to make available. So we knew what we were looking to achieve. So we've got all of that in place. The challenge now is to make all of that work in the new environment. What it shows, though, is an awful lot of work. And one of the clear messages recently from our members is part of our budget that was approved in February. Our members have committed £17.5 million to one of my units to actually deliver all of this programme. That's against a background of, as Peter Gilroy said, Kent currently this year is taking out 1,000 staff. Actually, the team that's dealing with this programme and this investment, which is about transforming education in Kent and the regeneration, my team's trebling in size. And that was a decision taken in light of where we were. That's not pre the economic crisis. It's actually taken 2 months ago. A bit about our vision, and I'll flick through these fairly quickly, because one of the things, and the reference back to the Victorians earlier, is actually very sort of apposite, because actually we've got to work through how these schools are going to work in the future. We've got some fantastic Victorian old schools. The building will last for the next couple of 100 years. Their walls are 2 foot thick. They're just like Dover Castle. Actually fantastic until you want to put wireless or any of the cabling through. Actually, what we've got to build this time is on the basis that it's got to last all of our lifetimes. Therefore, it's got to be flexible. So therefore, we're starting with working through sets of environments in terms of actually the spaces. So they need to be flexible. So they can accommodate very small teaching groups. To actually, some of ours will accommodate 120. We've got lecture theatres as part of some of the school plans, etc. But also as part of the planning and thinking ahead for our PFI schools, and we actually take possession of 3 PFI schools next month. Actually, we've already given sets of thought to what happens if we no longer need the school. What else can we use it for? Bearing in mind these schools have got to last 40 to 50 years. Actually, all of the modelling on pupils is based on pupils up to 2018-19. So actually, what other uses could we put the school in total or in part? So again, as part of the building construction and design, it's about being able to segregate some of that off. ICT, Peter's made reference to. Peter, on occasion, skips over the fact Kent's actually got quite a good broadband network, but actually it was the school's broadband network, which is just recently, bearing in mind we had to lay broadband onto every single one of our schools. We've got 600 schools. Actually, we've got fantastic facilities, at least to the school gate. It's then about moving it forward to the rest of the community. And it's about all authorities piggybacking on. When we announced that we'd got this facility, the first people who queued up in Kent to actually try and make use of that actually were Kent Police for the roadside cameras for number plate recognition, because we'd got the sets of networks and actually it cost them absolutely nothing. Pain in the arse simply since I've been done recently for speeding as a result of using that. But actually it's about trying to open up all those sorts of opportunities across the public sector.